Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome along this evening to Pro Sport Chat with the Pro Sport Contenders for D1NZ Pro Sport Series for 2025. We're heading into Baypark just over 10 days away. We've dragged the boys out of the garages tonight to get their final thoughts as they head into what could potentially be I reckon it could be career-changing as a driver, winning a $15,000 prize going to Japan with the Drift Japan prize pack. So this evening we've got Kurtis, Lilly, we've got Blake, Myles, we've got Guy, Maxwell, we've got Dan Edwards, we've got Corbyn, Wilson, and we've got Deane Young on the chat. Hello, boys. How are we all this evening?
All good, mate.
Pretty good.
All good.
All righty. Great. Good to see you boys all in here and not in the garages, although some of you obviously are still coated in oil at the moment. So, look, wanted to keep things pretty light tonight. I wanted to hand it over to the fans because I think you guys are poised to steal the show heading into Baypark. Having watched you guys drive, I think it's not right to be describing you guys as the development series anymore. You guys are certainly holding your heads high, and I think you'd all agree at the moment the level of battle was just phenomenal. How are you guys feeling at the moment? I mean, is there anyone that you kind of think going into battle, I'm going to get that guy? Or it's pretty hard at the moment, right? Just jump in when you want, right? This is a bit of a free for all. This is like back in the days of lockdown.
I'll go first.
Of course you're going to go first. Who invited that guy?
Hey. So we come into the season pretty late. But everyone was like, oh, why don't you go to pro? And I'm like, why? Like, one, I'm sponsored by Kenda Tires, who is they're not in the pro championship. But I was like, they're like, oh, you're good enough to go into pro. I'm like, yeah, but these pro sport guys are not walkovers, like everybody out here, like this, especially all these guys on this call is like, they're all top tier drivers, and on any day, any of us can win. So, it's sick. Like, I love driving with these guys, and especially on the weekend I went against Deane, and we knew we could give it 113 because he's going to go hard. So, and battling with everyone all year has been sick. So, hopefully we can steal the show. That's for sure.
And you guys all pretty much feel the same, yeah? I mean, apart from Blake, who likes to show off in qualifying, right? What is it, 5 out of 5 now?
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna raffle off any of your signage winnings? I'll take one of those.
I'm keen on some of those Podium screwdriver sets. I never got one.
I've got one.
I'll trade you, bud.
Hey, Dean got some double ups. I was lining them up.
Yeah.
Corb's has got plenty of team tools.
He's got a full
I've already
kit.
sold a few.
He's got a full kit.
Hey, boys, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just share my screen with you. I'll show you how close it actually is at the moment. So this is actually what the points table looks like at the moment. So you guys are here because you're all in with a shot of winning the title at the moment. So, Kurtis, you're at 1 at the moment with 285. Then we got Blake at 266, along with Deane at 266. We've got Guy at 248, Corbyn 242, and Dan at 226. And if you go right to the end column, you can actually see there what happens if you guys go 1-1. So if you get the snake eyes, kind of get a bit of a sense of how the championship could play out. So, hey, I don't think there's anything for anyone to lose in 10 days' time. It looks pretty tight there, boys. How does that make you guys feel? You're putting on a bloody good show. Corbs, you're the youngest. How does that feel?
Stressful.
I mean, stressful.
Bit of pressure.
Yeah. What about you
It's
wily
your
old
first
fox?
full season, bro. You got no pressure. You're not.
I think it's going to make for a good show.
Yeah, we had a
definitely.
pretty crappy Manfield run, and we were going in hoping to bank some good points, so we were a bit more safer going into Baypark and stuff. So, yeah, man, bring it on.
That didn't really play out for you at all, did it, Deane?
Really didn't,
I guess I sort of wanted to stay away from doing round by round analysing, but for all of you guys, it was actually a tough round, apart from Blake, who rocketed up the table. But for the rest of you guys, right, you guys were a long way ahead. And then Blake's kind of come from nowhere and gone, hey, how are you guys?
Yeah, I'm still here, guys. I'm still here.
on that note, he bloody deserves to be up there with us as well. Like,
yep.
It's very surprising. He had some pretty bad luck at the last couple of rounds. Like Mount Smart, I think his e-throttle, failed on the line.
Yeah.
Shout out to Blake. Definitely, he's kind of come out of in the last year or two, popped up and really showing some good form. So yeah, shout out to him. Definitely, he deserves to be up here, and I'm stoked for him to get that win. He it really proved that he's a good driver and all of that, not just a qualifying champ.
He did tell me that the whole thing was your crew chief's fault, right, Bailey? It was his fault. Throw him under the bus. Just
Bailey and I will blame the mechanic.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, so boys, I did throw it out there to the fans to kind of ask a few questions, and the first one that actually came through, really curious to know where you guys actually started out in motorsport. So, is this your first motorsport, or did you guys start out doing something else? We start with you, maybe first, Dan.
Yeah. Well, I actually, my father was hard out into Speedway, so I actually started out in Speedway from. I started in mini stocks at 12, but before that I was driving like production saloons here and there. I jumped in a car when I was 9 or 10, and over in Waiheke Island, and had my first race, and he didn't actually know that I jumped in someone else's car, but it all started from there, went from that to mini stocks, and then jumped into stock cars, and I got hurt my back a bit, and so I needed to pull out of that before I couldn't walk again, pretty much. And then decided to get a drift car, and yeah, that's pretty much how it came about.
All right, and because that kind of leads us into Corb's. Your background's a little bit similar.
Yeah, started in mini stocks when I was 13. So yeah,
pretty much from there into, so you go from 55 horsepower to 755, just like that.
pretty much.
Oh, must be tough to be you. Must be tough to be you.
Yeah,
what about you, Blake?
I actually started off racing motocross from fairly young. Sort of got out of it when I was about 16 and did nothing until this year pro sport, or last year pro sport. Switched from 2 wheels to 4, a little bit safer.
You, Deane?
D1 was my first motorsport stuff. So I've done I think this is my 3rd season of pro sport. And I dabbled in one round at Manfield. Then I borrowed a car and ended up pretty much riding it off. So that was a good time.
Did you have to buy that one?
Nah. Brian at NDT was a man about it. So yeah,
Okay.
I had to pay some bills and job starting.
All right, and you last two, I know you two have both fallen out of the air a couple of times. Who wants to go first?
Kurtis, you're winning. You go first.
Thanks, Guy. So pretty much it'll be my second motorsport. I used to race motocross since I was probably 7 years old, all the way through till probably 3 or 4 years ago. Raced it competitively, travelled around the world, and then just got too many injuries, and as they say, with age comes cage, and got into drifting.
You're being a bit modest though, really, aren't you? Because you were a sponsored factory rider.
That is correct.
Let it all out, brother. Let it all out.
Yeah. So what team are you riding for?
I used to race for HLR Husqvarna. So the factory supported Husqvarna team. So I was their national 1 in 5 rider.
Cool. Well, that's an amazing story in itself. It actually, I don't want to cut you off, Guy, but it did actually spawn one of the other questions that we had come through. And there was a question for Kurtis, which was harder mentally, physically, and financially? Is it drift or motocross?
So probably break that question down, Warren. I would say mentally, what would be harder would probably be motocross, purely because you've got split seconds to make decisions. Track's always changing. You're going for 20 minutes to 30 minutes non-stop, and your heart rate's at about 185 to 190 beats a minute for that entire duration. So mentally is a lot more draining and challenging. Whereas D1, we've just got 2 laps. Physically, obviously, motocross. And then financially, I would definitely say drifting is a lot more challenging, even at the level that all the boys on this chat are at, and the financial support that we get to be where we are now is still very, very challenging compared to motocross.
Cool. All right. Thank you for that, Kurtis. And Guy, you were a motocrosser too, weren't you?
Yeah, so classic, the 5th birthday, get a motorbike, all of that. Raced up till I was 14 or something, broken femur, broken collarbone, broken arm, all of that, all in one crash kind of thing. And then it was, okay, I either need to give this up and move to Speedway or something else. And then, so I didn't actually change. I didn't jump to any other motorsport. I just thought the way to stay in motocross at the time was to get a camera and started taking photos. I've known Kurtis probably since we were maybe 8 or 10 anyway. You know, a lot of
Yeah, the
our
boys.
motocross career kind of thing. And just kind of did that, did photos for many years, then started getting into taking photos of drifting and then taking photos at D1 and, you know, was the official D1 photographer for a few years and all of that. And then started running our own events with Choice Events, myself and Tony back in the day. And then he was like, why don't you just get a car? And then I was like, oh, I don't know, I've never drifted. He was like, well, just get one and we'll just try. And then, yeah, it kind of got a car, and then it kind of come naturally to me with motocross, you know, with the whole clutch engine and hand-eye coordination and all of that. So I was like, oh, yeah, sweet. Started drifting, and then slowly excelled through. I guess we did a season of Drift South and a few things like that. And then we jumped into D1. I think it was my first full season of D1. I managed to win Baypark, which was like the wildest thing I've ever had. And then, yeah, just kind of stuck at it from there. And now here we are, and we're in this chat and trying to take on some of these young guys that are coming through. And, you know, the old dogs are still trying to get in there.
And Deane, yeah. I kid. Deane's actually only 32. Don't believe when I say
I was going to say, I'm
75
pretty
on
sure I'm like older than Deane, but
yeah, but I just tell you when Deane's 75 on the broadcast. It's
Hey,
fine. It's fine.
it's my birthday. It's my birthday
Is it?
at Baypark. So can you guys please just give me a birthday present?
I'll bring you a birthday present, guy, but I won't give you one.
They'll give you a
God.
nudge each. Hey, out of interest, did you guys ever race head to head?
No, I don't think so.
No?
How old are you?
No.
Me,
Yeah, how old are you, Kurtis?
30.
Yeah, I don't think we did. I think I got out of it before he started taking right off, and then I started becoming more around it when I was a photographer, taking photos of him and stuff. So I think that's kind of, there wasn't really a crossover, and because I lived in like Gisborne, Rotorua, Whakatane kind of area, and he was up Auckland kind of way, we never really crossed paths, I don't think.
Yeah,
Not
you
that
were more. I remember because you took that cool photo of Haki at
Yeah.
Taupo. So I was sort of Haki's era coming through.
Yeah.
And you were sort of taking photos by that era. Sorry.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
All right.
So-
Well, maybe we'll see you guys head to head this weekend. Then maybe in the
Bring it
final or
on,
something.
dog.
For redemption. So,
Hey,
let's go.
I do have a question for Guy. This is from M Bond of Tauranga. When did you open a trenching company? Are you available for other jobs? Do you have a car that just does single trenches? Regards, Michael.
Fuck. DSRA, always with the stitch ups. Man, they sent me a Snapchat straight after that, and I was, God. Yeah, that was a little bit unfortunate. I was like, man. Hey, but then again, it's not Taupo, right? So we're good.
Fair enough. Hey, look, boys, we sort of talked about it earlier. There was a question that came in, and I wasn't sure how you guys would feel about answering it, but one of the questions from an interested party was, what have you roughly spent to get your car to where it is today? And then the second part of that question is, what sort of budget do you work to for a pro sports season? Is anyone happy to answer that?
It is pretty hard to answer. Like, I got my car for a pretty good price from Jordan and stuff like that. So I actually got real lucky buying my car the way it is. Yeah, I blew the motor up last year and we had to spend a lot of money on that. But budget side of it, I could probably, I don't know if everyone's the same, but I can probably guarantee most people are in the 6,500 to 10,000 per round. That's everything. That's like from leaving home, getting home.
Yeah.
On an average, I reckon. Some rounds are cheaper. It might be raining. You know, you use less tires, less fuel, but some rounds are dearer, and then you got damages on top. So it's not a cheap sport, but the enjoyment you get out of it is all worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure.
So that number's about this right for you guys? Is that the same for all of you? So you guys are all sort of working 30 to 35k for a season, roughly? Is that about right?
It's a rough guess. Like I haven't really put an exact number on it because I don't.
It's too dangerous. It's too dangerous to put a right number.
It's. I reckon after you calculate, like, I mean, from Auckland to Tauranga, just for that, then you got 3,000 in a Airbnb or book a batch, and then you've nearly got $2,000 in tires plus 1,000 in fuel, or give or take.
Yeah.
it works out to be quite expensive. So you're already getting up to 4,000 alone, just in accommodation, fuel, and tires.
Yeah.
So plus feeding your crew, or if you do that, and feeding yourself, your family, your tickets to entry fee. Yeah, it's about that number, I reckon.
Okay, maybe let's leave it at that then, because it seems like it's a painful conversation. Look, I guess my estimate on that is I don't think you can put a car out there that's gonna be competitive and reliable for a season for less than about 75. Would be my guess is sort of a benchmark if someone's thinking about coming to the sport. Since we're dealing with difficult subjects, let's talk the new judging system. Lead, chase. Deane, you mentioned you've done 3 full seasons. So how are you finding that adjustment?
Well, I guess I can't talk too much. It's Podium 3 times this season, so I've already done better than last season, that's for sure.
Way to put pressure on everyone else, Deane.
Yeah.
It's just Maxwell keeps getting me. It's flipping annoying, eh?
Well, at least he hasn't crashed into you yet.
No, I didn't crash into him at Manfield though. I swapped my bulldozer for a lawnmower.
You crashed into me.
Well done, bud.
Who crashed into you?
Guy
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, at Taupo in practice. He was
You're
going too slow.
Guy didn't crash into that Taupo.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, speaking of people who crash into stuff, there's another question here that says, Corbyn, who is the funniest man in D1 and why is it Sam West from S West of Papamoa?
It's just all the snaps he sends me. Woke up from my sleep through the gorge.
You're too young to get those snaps.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, does he have clothes on, Corbyn? Because that should be R18 snaps, mate. I don't know if you should be seeing those.
Yeah.
No, PG.
PG-13.
I do appreciate Mr. West, but there we go. All right. Hey, so what about you, Blake? I mean, you're obviously doing all right with the qualifying thing, but then battle, like you've got the monkey off the back so far with battles.
Yeah,
after the last one.
The whole judging system's new to me. It's my first full season. Got the qualifying down, just trying to find our way in the battles and get comfortable in the chase without being deceived. All these fellas doing real smoky lead runs in front of me. But getting there slowly, getting more confidence and more experience.
What about you, Guy? Because you've done a few different comps, right? So you've been through a few different judging styles. What are your thoughts on it?
So my whole theory with drifting, regardless, is you're not really competing against anyone else other than the judges, because it doesn't matter what that guy does in front of you. You've just got to do what he does to make the judges be impressed. So it is hard with each. Like Luke Fink is a really good example of doing what the judges are asking of you, not driving how you think you want to just drive. I got done at at Manfield. The boys were like, bro, just slow down and you'll do better. Sure enough, flew off the track. But the judging, it kind of is what it is. With our comps and stuff and all the other ones that I've done, every time you go is different. So you have to listen at driver's briefing and you have to pay attention to what they're asking you, because they're going to stand by their word, and you just have to put up with it. It may not be how you like or how you think the track needs to be or whatever, but at the end of the day, you've just got to drive how they tell you to. I don't mind it. I think they've done a bloody good job with what they've got to work with, obviously being their first season of all of them working together, and how with the new structure and with the new their new system that they're trying to use. Once they explain it and like Benkai's breakdown and stuff, I think people understand a lot more. Yes, on the day it's a little bit, people are like, oh, I should have won that, or he should have lost this or that or whatever. But if you take it apart, and if a lot of people have a lot of opinions that weren't actually at driver's briefing, so it's hard. Like when the fans are like, oh, he should have won, but you weren't at driver's briefing, you don't actually know what they were actually asking for. So that's the hard thing about drifting. Whatever we watch, if we watch Drift Masters and we think so-and-so should have won, but we weren't at driver's briefing, we don't actually know what they wanted,
It's one of my favourite things about the sport is sort of watching what goes on in the background, and somebody will swear blind that their favourite driver won, and their favourite driver could be have not competed for 10 years, and they still think that same driver's winning all the time, right? Not that I want to pick on Deane Young fans or Kurtis Lilly fans or Dan Edwards fans or Blake Myles fans or Corbyn Wilson fans, because you guys have all got some pretty fanatical supporters, and I think you guys should be really proud of that, by the way, just the amount of support and love that comes through for all of you guys. What does that actually feel like? I mean, I guess you kind of being ambassadors for your families and the teams, etc. I mean, Corbs, you've probably been at it for a little while, even though you're quite young through the speedway and stuff. Is it a little bit of extra pressure, or does it spur you to drive harder?
Oh, speedway was kind of just having fun and not stressing too much. That's what I liked about speedway. But now that I've gotten into D1 and in this podcast, it's a little bit more pressure now, though.
Yeah, it's got to be hard too, right? Dealing with stuff like, I know I don't want to put you on the spot, but obviously Mount Smart, huge learning for you guys. Obviously, just dealing with that breakage and dealing with that, and then having to kind of front into the camera as well.
Yeah, same with Manfield. Snapped the axle in the top 16. Wasn't the greatest, but all good.
I'd say though, there were, and that for probably Guy would relate to this, because obviously I know Guy outside of drifting, that it's actually a pretty cool feeling in the sense that you've got people out there that either you know them or you don't, but they come up to you and they talk to you like like you know them personally, and they're backing you, and they're wishing, we really want to see you do well. Yeah. And that's quite a cool feeling for us, because we were once those drivers. I remember watching Guy win at Baypark when I wasn't even driving. So it is a pretty cool feeling when you get spectators come up and see you and say, how you going? You're watching you look like you're doing good, or whatever it might be. And that is a really cool feeling to be in that situation, at least for myself.
Yeah, no, definitely, you're right, because again, I always do my best to try and give kids the posters or let the kids sit in the car and stuff, because I remember as a kid walking around motocross, making sure I got everyone sign my shirt or my hat or whatever it was. And to them, they're like, bro, I'm a nobody. But to me, I was like, oh my God, you race, whatever. And you need to, I don't know, the other guys I'm sure feel the same, letting a kid sit in your car, they're not going to wreck it any more than you do. So, let them, pull the handbrake and hang on the steering wheel, whatever. Because, one day they are going to want to do it, and they may remember this, or you give them a poster and you sign it or whatever. Yes, okay, we're not the Fanger Dans or the Luke Finks or whatever, but to these kids, they don't really understand who's who. They just see that we are one of the people that are doing it,
Yeah, and I think that's a really cool thing to kind of bring into the chat, because I think you're right. I think the drifters are very accessible in New Zealand, and I think I always look around the pits and I think people look up to the people who look like them. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. They want to just grow up and be the next Kurtis Lilly or Guy Maxwell or Blake Myles or Deane Young, or not really growing up too much to be Corbyn, right? They're probably only 5 years age difference or whatever, or Dan. But look, I think you guys are really doing a good job of that type of thing. One of the other questions that came through, just because we are talking about this as well as in terms of new people, is some of these new guys that have come in. Obviously, Blake's made a mark pretty quickly. Jordan Richards also looks very good at the moment. Who else is sort of standing out to you guys as just that guy who you think is going to be the next big thing?
I reckon Dan Pullenberry is pretty mean as well. After watching him at Mount Smart and stuff, he's got some gangster talent too. He's going to be a good driver. Yeah, already is a good driver, but one of the up and comers.
Yeah,
got to give a shout out to my teammate, obviously Tyler Knowles. Warren, you've seen him from MSC days to how he stepped up in the series this year, and I'm excited to see if he can put some more power in that car. The guy's definitely got some talent to drive, that's for sure.
Yeah, and a couple of the girls coming through as well. Good to see Kim out there and see Zalia out there just throwing down and just getting into it, right? Just one of the boys. Why you got nothing? Oh, now you're all scared. Now you're just
I think she done pretty wicked at Manfield. You watch her runs and stuff throughout the weekend, and they're only getting better and better and better. And finally held a lap together for her battles and stuff like that. So I reckon that's pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, it's not one of the easiest tracks to come into as your first first round. You know, it's a pretty fast entry. You got to have some balls to go foot flat, fourth gear into that first corner. Otherwise, you're straight off. You know.
Yeah, speed is your friend there.
Yeah.
We were sort of trying to point that out on the broadcast too, in terms of we're all from the upper North Island, so nobody has a lot of data or setups for Manfield. You guys get to drive it once a year, if that, for 6 laps, and then you're asked to go and do 140,000 miles an hour like Guy, and do whatever. So I mean, it certainly isn't easy to get out there and compete. Which leads me to mindsets for Bay Park. How many of you all done Bay Park before? No.
Once.
Yeah, once for me too.
Who's hit the wall?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Blake's never driven it, but he'll come in and get P1 again.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a worry.
Try anyway.
Are we taking? Are we doing a pre-deal on qualifying for that bold signage, or are you going to share that around for the lads at the beers afterwards, or
you're going to run them out of business, boy?
Trade for some building products or something, Kurtis. You probably got a bit of timber lying around. Yeah,
I got a screwdriver set, bro. I'll trade you.
Boys, I got another question here. Do any of you have a specific routine before a run or anything specific? Does anyone have lucky undies, etc., or socks?
Nah, but if we asked Sam West, maybe he would have something to say.
Yeah. Right. I just try my best because I get in my head too much and all of that. So if you can just be relaxed going into it is the best thing you can do. You know, like I'm sure all these guys will agree. You get worked up too much or whatever, and I've done it many a times. Is like just tunnel vision and seeing red, and you just go hard and you just kind of stuff it up. Whereas if you're relaxed and you're calm and you can kind of count it out and kind of I don't know, take it as slow as you can as such in your head. I don't know. It's to me, drifting is such a massive mind game. Like when there's no pressure, I'll just do gangster laps all day, like having fun and all of that. The moment I have to do something, it's just like, and you get all tense and all that. And it's just pressure on. But if you can kind of breathe and calm down and kind of just run it through your head slow enough, I think you can kind of pull off a decent lap.
What about you, Blake? Because, I mean, you've obviously managed to get qualifying down pat. So are you following the same routine constantly to kind of be able to dial in?
I find for me, running through it, like with your eyes closed, getting your points, getting your gear shifts where you're wanting to pull your handbrake. I'm a little bit opposite. I try and amp myself up. I find as soon as I leave the line, I'm too calm. So I try and get some aggression, amp it up. You know, we're in competition. We need to go hard type thing. We need to push. I find if I don't do that, I'm a little bit too relaxed, not aggressive enough type thing.
Fair. Makes sense.
What about you, Corbs? Different, same mindset?
Just try to stay consistent.
Dan?
Yeah, I'm
in that.
More try to keep calm, Like this year for me, I've been more not on the calmer side, and I think that's where I'm faulting a bit this year. But like if you go back the previous 2 years, I haven't taken it so serious, if that's the right word, you know, and I've got a lot better results that way. Like I'm just going drifting with the boys, where this season I felt like, you know, I was trying to put it on a bit more and had a lot of pressure, and which that's all gone for Bay Park. I'm just drifting with the boys again, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's actually one of the questions is why competition drifting instead of just doing laps with the boys? Is this something that draws you guys to wanting to do D1? Is it?
I'm too competitive.
Drifting with is that what it is? Is that just what it is? Yeah. It's just you want to go and be number one all the time?
We all come from competitive nature, I guess. That's why we're all sitting on this call, and every one of us here is, you know, competitive, wants to go out and battle with the boys and put on a show, but we all want to do well. That's why we're all here.
I'm genuinely fascinated by it, right? Because I didn't have, when I did my racing, I didn't have that. I just enjoyed the experience of kind of tinkering with the car and doing the stuff with the family, etc., which is probably why I was pretty crap at it, to be fair. And you guys are all just competitive, right? So you all like each other, but is there anyone in the pits you guys don't like? I mean, it's only us and a few thousand people watching. I mean, who do you want to? I mean, if you could get away with it, who would you just nudge off the end of Bay Park? Anyone?
Only Guy.
Only Guy?
I'll
Just
take
Guy? Just Guy?
Yeah, fair enough.
So we're just hitting Guy.
Yeah, I think just making up for the first round.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I did actually have that specific question. Somebody sent it in. Kurtis, if it comes down to it and it's the grand final, are you willing to cave the lead car's door in? And that's from James Griffin.
Yeah, he's one of my teammates, one of my crew. Yeah, like, hey, I mean, Bay Park's the final round. We always know Bay Park. Everyone leaves it 100%, or as guy likes to say, 113%. So we'll be coming in with the best of intentions and driving, leaving nothing on the line. So there's probably going to be some door rubbing and maybe a few dents. I wouldn't say I want to cave anybody's door in because, you know, we all spend a lot of time and a lot of effort to make our cars look good. So I wouldn't want to be that guy, but yeah, definitely won't be holding back.
So let's talk about that for a moment without poking the bear, so to speak. We've seen a few battles recently where there's been one touch and then two touch and then three. As reasonably talented drivers, you guys can pull out of that and avoid that if you want to, right? You don't have to keep going and keep nudging the guy in front.
Yeah,
Makes it better content.
No comment?
It depends.
Depends, because, yeah. It
Depends what
depends.
it is.
Once the person feels the first nudge, that may actually break or, you know, slow down and then, oh, got you again, bud.
Yeah, it's all like it's either a hurry up or a I don't know. It's you can definitely pull out, but then you could lose. So why?
Right.
You know, you want to
Yeah.
stay in it because, you know, I'm sure. Like just a quick one, going back a couple of years ago, when FD Adam LZ got hit by Matt Field, and it hung him up, and he pulled out a drift because he thought he was like the judges will see that, and then he lost.
Yeah.
So you're better off just to stay in it as much and as long as you can. You know, at Taupo, I smashed into the back of Deane, and we just stayed in it, carried on the lap. You know, props to you, brother. That was sick. But you know, you just never know, because if you pull out or if whatever they could deem something out, or they could see something you can't see or whatever, and then you lose because you pulled out. You might as well just stay in it.
Yeah, look, I like that, right? I think it's the right attitude to have. I think we used to see a lot of that type of stuff where somebody might feel just a single tap and go, okay, now I've got the win. I don't have to do anything else. I don't have to stress my car and just get out of it. So it was just an interesting question. I thought that had sort of come through. What else have we got here? This was asked of Kurtis, but I'm going to put it to all of you. If you win, how much are you putting on the bar?
I'm already broke as to be
You're broke.
maybe $100.
Sunday, Corbs, you ain't allowed in the bar, so that doesn't apply to you. I'll say mum and dad will be in the bar. You can stay outside. What about you, Dan? I know some of your mates. You're going to be broke.
They've already made me broke.
What do you reckon? What do you reckon then, Kurtis? How much? You get the breakthrough win. You get the title. What are you putting on the bar?
Yeah, the boys are already saying it'll be a big night, no sleep. So we'll leave the numbers out of it, but it'll be a big night, Warren. That's for sure.
All right, fair enough.
Blake will be on the tequila shots all night, eh?
I was hoping someone would buy me a drink, to be fair.
Yeah. All right, a couple of other ones that I got here, boys, just as we sort of get to the end of just taking us on this fun little journey. Somebody asked, what can you guys bench? So I sort of expanded it out. So I was generally curious in terms of, do any of you guys actually do any fitness training for your driving as well, or are you all pretty active in your jobs?
Do I look like I go to the gym?
That's
so apart from
gave up motocross, Warren, because you don't have to train.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm generally curious, right? I mean, I know that certainly a lot of the speedway drivers, because they got no power steering, do a lot of probably upper body work. So no one here is training. No. Deane, you're doing single arm baby curls.
I
I just
think-
get sent for laps at school.
Yeah, he's still got PE.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Got a beat test.
Government enforced training for Corbyn.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, what else have we got here? Blake and Dan, is it true that you will dump the rubbish Jay-Z's next year and put RBs in your car from Mikey Ryan 35.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I didn't have to pull out of my battle.
No, never.
No?
No.
Not you guys.
No.
I don't need more issues in my life.
Oh, come on, mate. RBs are the way to go.
All right. And okay, so one last question, boys, before we wind this one up for the night. And I do thank you guys for giving up your time on a Wednesday and not working on your cars. If you could change one thing in competitive drifting, what would it be?
I don't really think you could change much because then it wouldn't really be competitive drifting. It's pretty good the way it is. There's obviously things that each driver isn't going to like, but then another driver would like. So that's kind of why you got yourself into it, you know. It's
Absolutely.
I don't know. Yeah.
I got one there, Warren. I would say from my point of view, coming from a cross-code competitiveness, probably the prize money I would change. Because we spend a lot of money, and all these boys here would, tip a lot of money in every season, like Dan mentioned. And up until this year with Benke coming on with the prize, it's been, what do you walk away with? You tip all that money in for a sport, which around the world they're winning thousands of dollars for. Not to.
Was that my Wi-Fi?
I would change personally. That would be something that I would change personally. Would be potentially putting prize money on the line for the guys, just to cover the round fees or the gas money there, or or take the team out for dinner that night or something like that. I think that it doesn't have to be enough to do the season next year, but just some money to give back to the drivers. And going back to motocross, that would go all the way back to 10th place would get money.
Yeah, look, I have to
giving
say,
those drivers who don't get on the podium the opportunity.
I think D1 just cut him off for saying that. He's gone now. He's disappeared. Look, I guess 20%. I guess what I'd say as somebody who's come back in this year, it certainly feels like the sport is headed in the right direction again. I think without being overly critical of where it had been for the past couple of years, it was probably just kind of cruising along. And I think it's got to the point now where maybe you're getting those business disciplines coming in. I think you're seeing the show that you guys are putting in. I think more eyes are coming onto the sport and they're seeing the commercial value. You guys are bringing in your own brands alongside of that. And I think that will probably lead us to the promised land, so to speak, as long as we keep delivering on things. I guess it's just a case of it is a tough environment, I suppose, for everyone at the moment, right? And everyone's asking for a slice of that same pie from a sponsor perspective. So as long as we keep delivering the right show, doing the right things, and not, I guess, eroding sponsor values, then onwards and upwards for the sport, right? So, I like that one. Anything else, guys?
Well, what I was going to say on Kurtis's on the back of that is obviously we run our own events and we used to have our own drifting events and all that. It's so hard, right? And not to discredit what Kurtis said at all, but it's like, on the other hand of that, as an event organizer, to run these things now is so wildly expensive as well. And for sponsors, like, it's so easy for sponsors to give products or items or whatever as prizes. But if you're wanting $1,000, it's easier for them to give you $3,000 worth of stuff, instead of hard cash now. And prize money definitely helps. Speedway and all these guys get big prize money and all that. But it all comes down to, I feel, is like it's our responsibility as well as drivers to promote it, to get it out there, to prove that we are worth the money too. Because there's no point in them giving us prize money for something and then they obviously didn't have, say if they didn't have any crowd or whatever, it's like, well, we didn't do our job to promote it. So it's like a roll-on effect, I feel. And like you say, Warren, I think it is coming. And it'll start getting there and all of that. There are like a lot of drivers, a lot of people now, especially like with Laurie Heinonen and all these guys that have been coming to New Zealand. A few years ago we brought Jimmy Oakes over and Rome Charpentier and all these guys that now people are seeing New Zealand. And like when we were in America recently, everyone's like, oh bro, like we watch D1NZ, it's got one of the best broadcasts and stuff like that. It's good to watch, and the broadcast is really good. Like the other night, I was watching the Irish Drift Series, and it wasn't. I feel like it wasn't as good, the live stream and all of that. But yeah, I think D1 have a really good, strong live stream and all of that, especially being on YouTube now and all of that, and free and whatever. The numbers are just going to blow up. So yeah, I feel like it'll be good. But it all comes down to money is the hardest thing to get out of people. Like I say, it's easy for them to give products, but like 10 Tools giving away all the things that they have this season. If you were to put a money value on that, they would easily not give you the 30 grand or whatever that's all worth, but they'll happily give 30 grand worth of product.
Yeah, I guess because you're taking it out of profit margins, right? So that's always been the argument is you don't go to somebody who owns a small business. And so if somebody turns over $1 million a year, they might hypothetically make 100 grand, right? So you're asking them to take that out of their own pocket. And let's be honest, none of us would do that in our own right and go, hey, here's 20% of my own take home. Here, go and do what you want with it. So, look, I think it's about delivering the returns, delivering that bang for buck, and we're on the right trajectory. So, look, we'll park that one up because otherwise it would get cut out of the broadcast anyway. What else is floating around, boys? Anything else in the minds that we've sort of seen?
I can hear my guys. I'm at my workshop now, and my guys are out there building a motor at the moment.
Stop breaking them then.
No. It's a fresh one. It's a fresh one for Cody's car, our 14-year-old. So we're off to Drift South in the morning. We're leaving at 4:30 tomorrow morning. Off to Drift South this weekend to compete down there. And he's doing development series in my car, which will be cool for him. And then, off to Baypark in a couple of days after we get back on Monday, to Baypark on Thursday. And, and then off to, obviously, the elephant in the room for us is the LZ World Tour the weekend after Baypark. So, yeah, we've got a bit on.
I don't have any problem mentioning that, right? Because the fact that an event like that is able to come to New Zealand means that drifting is in a good place here. If people weren't prepared to come and watch it and see it and do it and be part of it, then you wouldn't even see someone like LZ or Colette and Dave Egan wanting to come down. So I think that's a good thing for the sport. Obviously, come to Baypark first of all, find out who wins the Pro Sport title. I'm going to ask one final question of you all, boys. I'm going to share the points table again. Now, obviously, you're going to pick yourself as the person who's going home as number one. My question to each of you is who finishes second and third. So if you win, who's going to be second and third? So, Kurtis, because you are heading the table, who do you think comes home second and third? I'm going to put the pressure on you.
Oh, you've done me dirty here because I'm boys with them all. But shit, put me on the tough one, eh? I would say... Look, I love you all, boys, but I would say based on how I've seen you all drive and how I've seen you drive at Baypark, I would say I'd have to rank Deane Young in second with a close third to Guy. Purely on the base. But it will be close between Daniel and Guy because I've seen Daniel do really well around there too.
Definitely,
So I would have to say Deane's probably the most consistent and probably going to come through on it. So I'd put Deane for second, and then a toss of the coin between Guy and Dan on that one for third place.
All right, Deane. So you got called out there. So you win it. Who follows you home on the podium?
Oh shoot. I'm gonna run. I'm going to run Blake second because I reckon he's going to smash Baypark.
Yeah, definitely.
I reckon it's going to be the track. And then Kurtis is, I reckon he's popped out of nowhere, this season, and like his driving is just on form. And I think all the MSC stuff has helped him massively for all these smaller tracks and stuff. And I reckon
a track
if
like
he
this,
his way, he's going to he'd be in third for Baypark, I reckon. Obviously, the other boys are all top runners as well. It's just, I'm just throwing 3 names out there or whatever, 2 names out there. But,
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot like people do to us, right? Blake, so they're picking you now, Blake. So your turn. You win.
I've got to go with the Core Civil Construction brother Dan on second. And I think Deane will be there third, and it'll be an all Jay-Z podium.
Oh, no RBs, no RBs. All right, Dan, you got. So what are you going to say, Dan?
I was literally going to say the same thing. It has to be a quarter clean up. I'm sorry, boys, but yeah, like the third place, it's so hard because I've seen Deane do so well there as well, and and same with Guy. It's I honestly think they both have it in them, and if they're not first, they're definitely going to be behind me for sure. Nah, jokes, but nah, it's got to be a Jay-Z cleanup. So surely Deane.
All right, rebuttal, Mr. Maxwell.
Yeah, it's a hard one. You know, obviously, like everyone says, these boys all drive hard. I think I would probably go with Deane in second because of the season that he's had as well. Obviously, him and Kurtis have been going kind of blow for blow with podiums and all of that. But I'm also not like Blake. If Blake can just do the same lap that he does every bloody time, he'll smoke us all. So, but then there's like, oh no, it's so hard. You know, there's everybody that's here. You know, Corbyn will just. Like you guys say about the MSC stuff, that's going to help at a track like this, you know, the short, tight technical, snappy stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd say probably Deane, and I would say maybe Blake for third. But I think it's going to be so much fun as well. Like, obviously, we're all there to win. Don't get me wrong. And we're all going to go there to win with the plan, you know. But I think whoever does come out on top and whoever does come out in top three on either on the night and in the championship, you know, no one's going to take it away from anyone. That they all deserve it. And, yeah, it's going to be a hell of a night. You know, it's either, I think I'm either going to win it or I'm going to crash. But, yeah.
It'll make for good TV. It'll make for good TV.
Hey, like Rahal,
all right.
Last time, you know, just blow up.
Corbs, lucky last. You're going to win the thing. Who's going to be standing there either side of you?
In second, I'd probably have to go with Blake because he's just going to nail the lead run every single time. And then probably Guy because he's just going to bulldozer all of us.
Auditioning for the Baypark Busters, eh?
Is it that obvious? Damn it.
Yeah. Hey, boys, I really thank you for giving up your time tonight. Really appreciate it. It's been great to get some insight into our pro sport drivers. As I said earlier, look, I think you guys development shouldn't even be used at all. You guys have been fantastic. I spoke to somebody who hadn't been to drifting for 10 years, and they just said, when did the pro sports get so good? And oddly enough, when did the pros get so crap? Which speaks to the level of driving that you guys are capable of delivering, and Baypark certainly suits the power delivery, the style that you guys drive, etc. So, look, I want to wish you all the best of luck for the event. Whoever stands on top of that podium will have well and truly earned it. Likewise, whoever comes second and third, certainly don't discredit that achievement as well. In the field as tight as this, it will be an amazing achievement for any of you. I think you're all probably ready to step up now, and who knows, maybe we should even do away with the whole pro sport thing going forward as something to think about, and you could all compete in one big giant class, maybe as a little bone to throw out there, maybe as a little teaser.
That would be sick. That would be sick. Yeah.
All right.
It's good to drive with the guys that are pros, definitely. But then these guys coming up is wild.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't got tickets for D1NZ round number 5 at Mount Smart, they're available online now. Of course, we have the conclusion of the pros, we have the conclusion of the pro sport, and we have New Zealand's first monster truck backflip attempt, along with around 150 cars on display in a hard park and traders alleys. So, join us at Bay Park. We look forward to seeing you all there. And as these guys said, make their day. Go down into the pits, have a chat with them, get those posters, get those autographs, and hey, maybe you could be our next pro sport champion.